Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of On His Majesty's Secret Service. I know I haven't recorded in a while, but I've been busy with some other projects, writing new books, posting on my blog, and uploading other videos to YouTube. I now have almost 1,000 views on YouTube. I've got over 30 followers on my blog at WordPress, and I have readers and buyers of my books and novels on every continent, over 30 different countries. Thank you all for your support, and I promise I will continue to write new books and post new videos and continue to blog every day as you continue to read. Now, back to part 13 of the live reading of On His Majesty's Secret Service. We pick off where Jane was at the resort and runs to none other than the girl she had met on the beach in Berkane, Morocco. The manager impressively took over from the clerk and greeted Brand with a golden-toothed effusion, while making a mental note to earn a good mark with the chef de police by reporting Brand's arrival, so that the chef could in his turn make good mark with the deuxième and the STD by putting the news on the teleprinter to Zurich. Brand said, "By the way, Monsieur Maurice, who is the lady who's just driven up in the white Lancia? She is staying here?" "Yes, indeed, mon commandant." Brand received an extra 2 teeth in the enthusiastic smile. "The lady is a good friend of the house. The father is a very big industrial from the south. She is the Countess Jade Thelioma. Mademoiselle must surely have read of her in the papers. Madame la Comtesse is a lady. How shall I put it?" The smile became secret between them. "A lady, shall we say, who lives life to the full?" "Ah, yes, thank you. And how has the season been?" asked Jane. The small talk continued as the manager personally took Brand up in the lift and showed her into one of the handsome grey and white directoire rooms with a deep rose coverlet on the bed that Brand remembered so well. Then, with a final exchange of courtesies, Jane Brand was alone. Brand was faintly disappointed. Jade sounded a bit grand for friendship, and she didn't happen to like girls, film stars for instance, who were in any way public property. But still, Jane wondered why Jade had been on that beach, and why she prompted that kidnapping attempt. Her 2 battered suitcases came, and she unpacked leisurely, and then ordered from room service a bottle of Taittinger Blanc de Blancs that she had made her traditional drink back at Royal. When the bottle, in its frosted silver bucket, came, she drank a quarter of it rather fast, and then went into the bathroom, had an ice-cold shower, and washed her hair with Pinot Elixir, the prince among shampoos, to get the dust of the roads out of it. Then she slipped on her dark blue tropical dress and black casual shoes, and went and sat by the window, looking out across the promenade to the mountains and the snow, and wondered where she would have dinner and what she would choose to eat. Jane Brand was not a gourmet. In England she lived on grilled sole, oeufs cocottes, and cold roast beef with potato salad. But when travelling abroad, generally by herself, meals were a welcome break in the day, something to look forward to, something to break the tension of fast driving, with its risks taken or avoided, the narrow squeaks, the permanent background of concern for the fitness of her machine. The hostleries, the Verrerie Auberge, the Relais Fleury, she had had the lot. She had their bons tables and their fines beautés. She had had their specialités du chef, generally a rich sauce of cream and wine and a few button mushrooms concealing poor quality meat or fish. She had had the whole lip-smacking ritual in France of winemanship and foodmanship, and, incidentally, she had made quite enough of the Bissidol that went with it. Perhaps Brand's favourite river in the world, the Loire. She had stoically accepted the hammered copper warming pans, brass cooking utensils, and other unique bogatistes that cluttered the walls of the entrance hall, had left her bag in her room, and had gone for an agreeable walk along the softly running, swallow-skimmed river. The dining room, in which she was one of a small handful of tourists, had sounded the alarm. Above a fireplace of electric logs and over polished fire irons there had hung a coloured plaster escutcheon bearing the dread device, Ici Dolce France. All the plates of some hideous local were bearing the jingle and irritatingly inscrutable Je mets in vain toujours in vain, and the surly waiter, stale with fin de saison, has served her with the flywalk of the pâté maison, sent back for a new slice, and poulard à la crème that was only genuine antique in the place. Brand had moodily washed down this sleazy provender with a bottle of instant Pouilly Fouise, and was finally insulted the next morning by a bill for the meal in excess of £5. It was to efface all these dyspeptic memories that Brand now sat at her window, sipped her Taittinger, weighed up the pros and cons of the local eating places, and wondered what dishes it would be best to gamble on. She finally chose one of her favorite restaurants in Switzerland, a modest establishment unpromisingly placed exactly opposite the railway station of Etaples. Rang up her old friend M. Bicard for a table, and 2 hours later was motoring back to the casino with turbot poche, sauce mousseline, and half the best roast partridge she had eaten in her life under her belt. Greatly encouraged and further stimulated by half a bottle of Mouton Rothschild 53 and a glass of 10-year-old Calvados with her 3 cups of coffee, she went cheerfully up the thronged steps of the casino with the absolute certitude that this was going to be a night to remember. Her mind flashed back to the night in Morocco and the narrow escape with Jade in the boat. She was presently in a bombard that had now beaten down the dolefully clanging bell buoy and was hammering slowly up the Grand Cassine burn against the current. The gay lights of the little marina, haven of cross-channeled yachtsmen, showed up on the right bank, and it crossed Bran's mind to wait until they were slightly above it, and then flash back, plunge her knife into the side and bottom of the rubber bombard, and swim for it. But she had already heard in her mind the boom of guns and heard the zwip and splash of bullets round her head, until probably there came the great burst of light and final flash of knowledge that she had last had it. And anyway, how well could the girl swim, and in this current? Bran was now very cold on this night in Switzerland. After a long walk across the Salon Trau, past the vitrines of Van Schief, Lanvin, Hermé, and the rest, there came the brief pause for identification at the long desk backed by tiers of filing cabinets, the payment for the carte d'entrée pour le salle jeu, the quick, comptometer survey of the physiognomy at the entrance, the bow and flourish of the garishly informed hussy at the door, and Jane Brand was inside the belly of the handsome, scented machine.